because there might be some people listening to this and they're like, wait a minute, I'm really confused about these guys. What's the difference between Investment Optimizer and Infinite Banking? And
yeah,
and it's really, you kind of hit on it a little bit there, Blake, but it's the difference between using the policy for, I'll call it consumer spending, versus using the policy for investing and creating value out there somewhere. And it may sound like a small difference, but really when you think about it, it's a huge difference. In other words, if I'm using my policy to go on vacation and to buy my cars and these other things, I'm not saying you can't do that, because you can, clearly, right? You take a loan from your policy, you can use it for whatever you want. But when I do that, when I first learned about infinite banking, I read the Bank on Yourself book, and when basically she painted this picture of you put money in the policy, and then she gave an example of going on a trip to Europe. So you have the money in the policy, you take a loan against that, and it's much better than just putting it on your credit card, which I'm totally in agreement with. But then after you get back from your trip, then you're little by little paying down that loan that you took to go on this trip. And the piece that I had a really hard time with was I'm still putting money, like new money going into my policy, filling the bucket. And I'm coming back and paying down the loans for when I went out and spent it. I'm like, where's all that money coming from? I couldn't put the pieces together to say, we're like, somewhere out there I have to be creating additional value. I felt like I had to go get a second job so that I could do both. Do you know what I mean?
Right, because you're saying the issue is that the value creation in that sense, if I'm using that system, isn't from using the money to get a return. That it doesn't do anything, right? That's the opposite. That's a consumer situation. The value is coming because you come up with extra money in your world to put more money into the policy.